Congrats, Lynn and Becky, on the new babies. And congrats, Sam, for your growing soccer media empire. Just being wonderful overall. Kate, I really appreciate it. Big
Sorry. Kate, that is so cute, but that was wild.
Lynn, so are you saying that my growing media empire is not the same as a baby?
It is.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Good Vibes FC. I'm Sam Ewis, coming to you from the Women's Game World headquarters in Vermont.
And I'm Lynn Biondolo, coming to you from sunny Australia.
Oh, I'm so glad that you're out there in the sun. Good Vibes FC is presented by our great friends over at Olipop. Use code TWG20 for 20% off at drinkolipop.com. Today on the podcast, we're talking through the huge NWSL trades from last week. Then we're getting ready for year 2 with no draft. Do we miss it? Or are we glad it's gone? And finally, we'll check our inbox for an email from self-described loyal hot dog, Kate. But first, Lynn, what's going on with you?
What is going on with me? Same thing. I've been jumping in the ocean like every day.
Good.
Feels so good on the hips. So good on the swollen hands.
You have swollen extremities?
They're like a little bit swollen, yeah.
Also, are your hips like widening out?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what that reminds me of? Is like the medieval like stretching machine when they like put somebody on the stretching machine as torture, but like it's literally your hips stretching to have a baby.
Yeah, they are stretching out. You should see me in bed like flopping side to side. It's like crazy. And you can only lay on your side, but then your hips are hurting because they're stretching out. Anyways, it's like a whole scene. But yeah, my hands are like a little bit swollen, but I also think that's because of the heat. So there's that. I'm watching MAFS here, Married at First Sight, and I love it.
I'll have to go get myself some sort of a VPN. I started watching Summer House like a year ago to season 6.
Yes.
And like I had to be like, Sam, you have to stop doing this. But I'm like officially back deep in. I'm on season 9. I watch it too much. I'm like back in that phase of like, I'm too addicted that like I'm like sacrificing the rest of my life and like my sanity and like my health to just like watch episode after episode.
What season is it now?
10. So like the end is in sight. Like I'll probably be at 10 like by tomorrow.
I know. I'm really excited. Like I could turn on my VPN and watch it, but I've decided that I'm going to do that when I get back. So it's like a little treat for myself.
Oh, that's something really to look forward to.
I know.
Do you know what else I'm watching? Traders. What? I wanted to ask you about that.
I haven't been watching it.
It's just one of those shows that like, it's almost like the plot has like just a huge hole in it. Cause you're like, wait a minute. What is the premise of this game? But it's so good.
Do you think you would be a good trader?
I like think about going on the show sometimes, and it's like my greatest fear that like I would be first out, and that like everybody at home would be like, what an idiot, like literally can't even tell a small white lie.
I was first out when the Rain played Traders. Like I got voted out first. It was honestly ridiculous though, the reason why people voted me out. I was like, you guys, we were playing.
What was the reason?
So we had to do like a scavenger hunt, 2 different teams. And I thought the other team like stole our thing, so we couldn't find them. So I was just like touching people's sweatshirts. And because I was doing that, people were like, she's a traitor. And I was like, what?
Do you think they're going to play it this year again?
I do. And I'm kind of jealous, even though I hated it last year because I was obviously out first.
Yeah, there's like nothing more embarrassing than being out first and having to sit on the sidelines. Well, wait, the other thing I've been watching, speaking of not being out first, women's ice hockey. I just watched the U.S. women's team beat Sweden today in the semifinal. So they're going to the big gold medal showdown on Thursday.
Wow.
I was
That's so exciting.
I know. Have you been watching any Olympics?
I have been. Okay, this is like a little bit of a rant, and this shows how ignorant I am. But I've been watching the speed skating. First of all, I need to get into that because everybody's butt is curvilicious, and I need to get into that.
Well, and your hamstrings would just like power you home to victory.
Yeah. But okay, so I don't really understand why sometimes they're racing like just 2 people and it's like heats, and then other times there's like multiple people racing and then everybody's just like taking each other out.
Unfortunately, I don't know either.
I just don't get it. But I also saw somebody say the Summer Olympics is like the first child. It's like calm, makes you want to have another Olympics. And then the Winter Olympics is like the second child, where it's like just mayhem and chaos and like you're throwing yourself off furniture and stuff. And I think that resonates even though I'm a second
like,
child.
That is like really funny, except like it's just like it does not describe me at all as a second child. And do you think it describes you?
Well, something went wrong in your house with the first and second child like situation.
Do you
like,
think we were like swapped at birth, like accidentally 18 months apart, and that's why I'm like so big?
Yeah, you're actually the older one.
Do you think they just like confused us when we were like 3 and 5?
They're like,
I like had a growth spurt.
They're like, we don't know. Just switch the birth certificates. I think it would describe me and my sister like more. Like she was more like reserved, calm, and I'm like a lunatic in our household. But like, does the Winter Olympics describe me? No.
No, you're a land mammal.
Yeah, 100%. Except when
I don't know why I
sea.
keep saying that. I like keep describing the Winter Olympics like as if they're not land mammals, but they're just like ice creatures.
Yeah, they're still on land.
They're still on like, well, they're on ice.
Which is land?
Well, a lot. Is Iceland? Is a hot dog a sandwich? I don't know. Do you want to hear about my brownies?
I do.
I made homemade brownies today.
Congratulations.
Like from scratch. Like I sifted the cocoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are they good?
Yeah, they're really good. I only had like a teeny tiny corner, but I'm really excited to have like a big old brownie after dinner.
Okay, should we get into this podcast?
Yeah, I think we should. I've updated you on literally everything I've done for the past week. So we did just get the roster for the SheBelieves tournament that's coming up. So I was gonna just quickly read that, Lynn. Do you want to just listen in while I rattle off some names?
Please.
Okay. In goal, the goalkeepers, we have Claudia Dickey. Claudia, look at her dive, look at her go, Claudia. Was that right?
Yes.
Okay, we also have Mandy McGlynn and Fallon Tellis-Joyce, who don't have songs yet, but we're working on it. Defenders, we have Jordan Bugg, another Seattle Reign. Emily Fox, Naomi Girma, Lily Reel, Tara Rudd, formerly Tara McCown. She got married in the offseason. Emily Sonnet, Giselle Thompson, Kennedy Wesley, and Kate Wiesner. Then in the midfield, we have Sam Coffey, Lindsay Heaps, Claire Hutton, Riley Jackson, Rose Lavelle, Olivia Moultrie, Jaden Shaw, Lily Johannes. Shout out to Riley Jackson getting the call back after her debut in January camp. And then for forwards, we have Maddie Darlene, Jamise Joseph, Trinity Rodman, Emma Sears, Allie Sentnor, and Alyssa Thompson. Lynn, what are your thoughts?
Okay, a couple of things stand out. One, obviously there's no Kat. So I know that she hasn't been dressing with Chelsea. I hope everything's okay. I don't really know, but that's obviously a big name that's left off. And then forwards wise, Maddie Darlene as a Reign player. I'm happy to see that she's back, see what she can do.
I know.
And I'm excited for her.
Yeah, I know. That's definitely a good one. I think it's also just nice to see, like, obviously we had this January camp with a ton of new names, but I came away from that being like, this was so fun, but like I'm so excited that like Lindsay and Rose and Sonnet are all back, and we're going to kind of start to feel like, okay, this is actually the roster that is going to be like gearing up for 2027. I think it was like seeing somebody like Jamise Joseph, who did so well in January, come back in for this camp is very, very cool. But like, I want to see her play with like a full blown roster. Yeah. And so I'm just like psyched to see everybody back.
Me too. I also, just as the forward, I know like Jaden can play the 9. Allie Sentnor can play the 9.
Yeah.
But there isn't like a true 9 on this roster, which is interesting to me.
Well, I mean, Jamise Joseph was playing the 9 in that game in January.
And she did really well. She did really well
too.
Yeah,
she did.
Yeah, anyways, I just think it's interesting. I'm like really excited. I think that, like you said, I'm interested to see players that got time in last camp come in and play against hard competition as well with people who have been there for a long time, like Lindsay and Rose and Sam Coffey.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see like Nay back.
I know.
I
know. It's great. I feel like some of us were kind of holding out hope that Sophia Smith might be included in this camp. We will have to wait. Obviously, we're also waiting for Mal Swanson, and then Lynn. Whenever you're ready, we're going to be waiting on you too, but not any sooner than you're ready.
I mean, I got to have a baby first. With my own situation, I think that, look, I know it's going to be like crunch time when I get back, and it's not that much time, but I would never count myself out. I always bet on myself.
I would never count you out either. I would be literally terrified of having to count you out. That would
Yeah.
just be like the weakest position ever.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's definitely gonna suck getting back in shape and everything, but I can do it.
You
I
can
can do it.
Okay, well, there you have the roster. We're definitely going to dig into this more on the show next week when we do Good Vibes with Becky Sauerbrunn and we prepare for the U.S. Women's National Team's 3 games against Canada, Colombia, and Argentina. But Lynn, I think what I want to dive into for this episode is the news, the double whammy of Claire Hutton moving to Bay FC and Croix Bethune moving to Kansas City. I was like so floored when this like double announcement dropped.
I know. I was also shocked, perplexed, intrigued.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I have a lot of questions, and I want to
questions.
talk about some of them now. One, we know that Croix requested this trade. We aren't sure about the origins from Claire's end, but this is just a reminder that players do have to consent to trades. I feel like these are the most eye-popping trades of the offseason so far, not just because both players were so beloved by the fans of their clubs, but also because they were some of the highest transfer fees paid in NWSL history. The current paid $1 million in intra-league transfer and allocation funds for Croix, and then Bay FC put up $1.1 million for Claire's transfer. We don't know salary information, but we should note that both Claire and Croix qualify for the high impact player status. So I thought we would just like check in on what this means for each club, and then also just to add in, a fan element. We have a comment from our Instagram post of this from a fan in every city that was affected. So I want to start with Bay. I think the talk around Bay with this move of acquiring Claire, Lynn, is like, is this a new chapter for Bay?
I mean, I definitely think Claire's going to help a lot. I think that the Bay, from a outside standpoint, like the marketing and the player care and all of that, it looks amazing. Like the facilities look amazing, the stadium looks amazing, the fans, all that. But their performance on the field, I think, has been lackluster at times. And I think that Claire, being such a just like sturdy presence in the midfield defensively, but also her ability to like spring balls forward. I know she's young, but she has so much experience. I think she'll go into that team and really help out.
I know. I completely agree. When I first saw this one, and I don't know if this is like thought all the way out, so like just treat this as like, a thought starter. But I was like, could this partly be the salary cap in action, or even like Claire? Again, we don't know about salaries, but it's like Claire becoming the high impact player for Bay. It's like, does the salary cap kind of like prevent Kansas City? And I know that we have Croix coming in there, so this might not like fully make sense, but Bay is getting a really great midfielder because Claire is moving. And like Bay can build now without a draft, without getting, I forget what place Bay came in last year, but towards the bottom of the table. So Bay is not getting this like top 5 draft pick, but they're getting Claire because there are other mechanisms in place to like help create parity. And so I think I'm like, is this one of these rules in action? Is Claire moving a sign that something is working and something is still helping create parity? Do you think that makes sense?
Yeah. I think that's one working theory. Like
yeah, it's definitely not bulletproof.
Like, I don't know if like the dots necessarily connect like that, but it like also could, they also could. Like, I have no idea. This trade like is just so shocking to me. Not good or bad. I'm like, why?
Well, I know, same. And so then I'm trying to go into like the mindset of Claire Hutton. And I'm like,
okay, well, where's Claire from?
New York.
Okay, doesn't make any sense. That out.
So I'm trying to go like, okay, you're 20 years old. You're like a rising star. And it's funny because I can't I can't even really put myself in that situation. What I can do is ask myself, when I made moves in my career, what was I like looking for? And I do remember right before I went to Man City, and then, I briefly went back to North Carolina and then ended up in Kansas City. What I was feeling at North Carolina was that I was like a small cog in a big machine. And that, like, yes, I was having success. We were winning championships. It was so, I wouldn't trade it for anything. But eventually I started being like, I want to be like captain, and I want to be like a big fish in a big pond, not a small fish in a big pond. Like, I want to be more of like a linchpin player at a team and at a club. And I want to like go and put myself in a situation where like they need me. And I think that's like what I did in Kansas City. There were other reasons, and there are of course other reasons. I was going to get paid more, and I was going to have better medical care, and those were equally important factors in my decision. But there was also this underlying sense of like, I want to be the player. I want to be the go-to person. That never came to fruition, sadly. But I wonder if that's a part of Claire and even Croix and any young up and coming player who wants to have a big career, especially like one that's also a part of the national team. Where can I go and be bigger and be not just a cog in a machine? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that I would like to talk about Croix on her own because I have a running theory with that. But with Claire, maybe also, like she plays in the midfield, and Kansas City, I know they're getting a new coach and everything, or they have a new coach now, but the system before they didn't play through the midfield that much. So at Kansas City. So maybe she's thinking, if I go to the Bay, I can start developing this area of my game. They're going to play through me more, as well as salary cap, as well as maybe she just wants to change. Like I don't know. Obviously there was something that she thought she needed to change. But yeah, definitely. I think that there's so many big name players in Kansas City that maybe she wants to be that player that the team goes to, and that can be like, Claire, save us.
Yeah. I mean, all of this could be part of it. I have not spoken to Claire. I don't know her very well, so I do not know. But the other thing I'm finding interesting here is like, what is Bay offering? That I've heard Claire talk like, I'm so excited about this project. I'm so excited about what we're building at Bay. And I'm like, what is Bay offering that would be so appealing to a young player? And that's, I know, a little bit of what we're going to talk about a little bit later in the show about the lack of a draft and how that kind of forces clubs to compete better and create a better environment for young players. But I think it's really interesting that somebody like Claire Hutton saw something in Bay and is like, yeah, I want to go.
Maybe also she's thinking, like you said, she wants to be captain. And I think at the Bay that she has like a really good opportunity to be that and like put herself out there a little bit more and take on that responsibility, and not only grow as a player like on the field, but off the field, and that her development there.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I know. It'll be so interesting to tell. Just a quick check-in on Bay FC fans. Soccer Mama 90 on Instagram writes, best day ever and off season for a Bay FC fan. We got women coaches with experience and Junior and Pfeiffer. So happy. Junior is Claire Hutton. Pfeiffer is Alex Pfeiffer. So Bay is just really like kind of having a great off season, and we're very happy to hear from you, Soccer Mama 90. Thank you for writing in. Okay, let's move on to Croix, who is moving from the Washington Spirit to Kansas City. This kind of like throws my salary cap thing like out the window because it's like the thing I don't get is like how Kansas City could pay Croix but not Claire. And obviously I am not privy to any of this information, but obviously they had enough to get Croix there, despite Kansas City being so stacked with such a great roster, winning the Shield last season. You kind of alluded to this a little bit earlier with you saying that maybe Kansas City historically has played less through the midfield, and maybe that was a reason for Claire leaving. Why do you think it would make sense to bring Croix there?
On Croix's side, I'm thinking strictly through Croix's mind, not Kansas City, is maybe if Croix has aspirations to stay on the national team, she's known for her like attacking presence and her ability to like slip the ball in. And I think she's amazing at that. And I think that that will definitely help Kansas City. But her defensive side hasn't always been there. And Kansas City in the past year was a better defensive side. So maybe she's thinking, okay, I can go to Kansas City. They have great facilities. Their team culture looks great. All the things that she was getting in Washington, hopefully translate over. But then she can like build that part of her game and kind of
learn
and defend and have to like be a more like rounded player.
I love that take. The question mark for me is how we don't know if Kansas City's new head coach, Chris Armas, will continue the playing style of Vlatko Andonovski because Vlatko is still in the front office at Kansas City, or if it will be totally revolutionized. And so this move, especially from Kansas City's like perspective of like, let's, allow a defensive player, a defensive midfielder to move away, this incredible young up and coming talent who, we could have planned our team around for years. And let's take in this young, exciting assist queen, attacking midfielder. And I think I just wanted to touch on quickly, Lynn, because you've played so much with them both. This wasn't really a like for like swap. Like I know they're both center midfielders, but they're very different players. And I wanted you to explain a little bit about each of them.
Yeah. Claire is more a defensive midfielder. So she's going to disrupt play, defend, be the person that the center backs give the ball to first, and she like kind of like starts the play. With that being said, she also has the ability to go into the box and like score goals. She like reminds me of you actually in a lot of ways. She's like a mini you. And then Croix is very like technical and savvy and sneaky, crafty and she's higher up on the field. You sometimes don't notice her, and then all of a sudden you're like, how are you behind me and in front of me at the same time and slipping the ball into forwards?
Croix's rookie season, remember, she just had like some ungodly number of assists and she only played half the season.
I know, it's crazy.
She's much more attacking oriented, which like, just brings me to be like, okay, she's going to get 15 assists to Temois and Michelle Cooper. Like it's going to be great. And I actually really like the angle you came up with about Croix developing in a different area. So,
well, I also think, sorry, not to cut you off. I think that maybe both of these players are like, okay, how do I get out of my comfort zone
totally.
And I think that's part of it. Sometimes when you get too comfortable, your development can stall. And instead you like, I'm thinking about myself when I decided to move from North Carolina. I could have stayed in North Carolina forever. I was really happy there. Best friends were there. Well, then you and Kristen did not decide, but you guys did.
Well, you just had to come with us.
Yeah. So I was like, I got to go to Kansas City, obviously. But anyways, I had decided even like a long time before you guys moved, I was like, this is probably going to be my last year in North Carolina because I need to like get out of my comfort zone. I need to push myself more. I need to somehow develop in a different area. And that's really scary though, to think like, okay, where am I going to go? How am I I'm taking a leap of faith. Again, Croix has no idea about the new coach, about the new system that's going to be played. And you're just like, I'm putting myself out there, seeing if I can continue to do this in this new environment without the support of the team that I've had behind me for, in Croix's case, 2 years, or in Claire's case, also 2 years.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, maybe that's part of it. Like, okay, I need to just develop in a different area. I need to get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. I mean, definitely sounds like it was part of it. I think for Kansas City, an interesting move.
Yeah.
I'll never just, the NWSL is always going to surprise us.
I know. From Kansas City standpoint, like losing Claire was crazy of them, but also gaining Croix is also amazing. And then also for Washington, I'm like, what?
Well, okay. So a Kansas City fan, we got a great comment from Becky Stye Furman on our Instagram. She writes, as a current fan, I've never gone from so excited because we're getting Croix to absolutely heartbroken because we're losing Claire. Ugh. So it's like, Bay is pumped. Kansas City is like mixed feelings. We're so excited, but this is also like a big loss. So then I'm like, where does this leave the Spirit? The Spirit is just so sad.
So sad. I'm like really confused why the Spirit did this. Like maybe there's something happening that we don't know about. But I'm just thinking about like Trin and Croix. I know so many people, myself included, would have loved to see a healthy Croix and a healthy Trin together and see what they can do.
I feel for the Spirit fans, like it is tough. You did just re-sign Trin, which was obviously a huge win. And I think you can probably still try to ride that high as long as you can. But I do feel for you guys. Croix was like such a fan favorite. She was like so important to the fans, to DC. So we got this sad comment from Liz Snaps that says, Casey gets Croix, Bay gets Hutton, and Spirit gets nothing but broken hearts. Check on your Spirit friends today. We are not okay. So I'm checking on you guys. I do feel bad. It's a big loss.
But like you did say, I know they didn't. It's not like they gained Trin, but they kept her, and that was obviously a huge win. I don't know, you guys. Like, I have no idea. It's madness out here. Madness.
It's madness. The media machine is humming, and honestly, like, that's what we kind of like to see. I wish both players the absolute best of luck. I'm huge fans of both of them. They're actually both with their new teams at the Coachella Valley Invitational, which is a collection of preseason games. And we already saw this footage of Claire in a Bay FC kit doing some fancy footwork by the corner flag in her preseason game against the Dash. So lots more to see from both of them. Obviously, we're cheering for them. We do need to take a quick break, but we're chatting draft, or obviously the lack of a draft, when we get back. So stay right there. Welcome back, everybody. Okay, so normally at this point in preseason, we've had the college draft and we're like watching the rookies integrate into their rosters, but this is our second year in a row with no draft in the NWSL. And I've been thinking a lot, Lane, about what that means. If we've seen any sort of meaningful changes in the league because of the lack of a draft, basically like the pros and cons of a draft in general, like what are we missing? And so I feel like a good place to start is to just talk about the point of a draft in general.
Okay.
And I think really the point we've been talking about this a little bit already this episode. The point really is to help maintain parity. Obviously, the teams that don't do as well, maybe more likely than not smaller market teams, now get access to like the biggest up and coming players that they wouldn't otherwise be able to compete for.
Yeah, correct.
Do you see any other like big reasons to have a draft?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Honestly, besides just like, I do feel like a draft is a good way to like learn the stories of the rookies. Whereas right now, I'm kind of like, I don't know who's going to be good. Like we felt this last year where we were just like, let's, take an estimated guess at which rookies we should be looking out for. And we like kind of, as a media department, like did our research and picked some people. And like, we actually did pretty good. I think like Lily Reel and Riley Tiernan were both on our list. But I'm like, I think that the draft like introduces you to the first round players that you like think are going to do really well. And we're kind of like missing that now.
Yeah, that's fair. I do think, especially as time goes on and we are like further away from college, sometimes I'm like, I have no idea. Like I have
exactly
no idea who's coming in. I don't know what you did in college. I would love to know.
I know. And so, I think the draft can also serve as that, like, it's like a media opportunity to introduce fans to the new players and get them excited about them.
I do think though, like if you are getting a rookie that you're like paying a higher amount of money for them, you have to assume like something
that they're going to be good.
They're going to be good. They're like, why else would it be?
I just don't know that fans like have access to that information. So you're a fan of Chicago and Chicago goes, we've signed 3 new players. You're kind of like, okay, tell me more, like tell me something about them. But there's no mechanism to like learn it.
And the team's like, you're about to find out.
Yeah, like maybe you'll have a sense of it. Like remember last year when Maggie Graham like scored, she kept scoring goals at the beginning of the season and we were like, oh my God, Maggie Graham.
Yeah.
That's another thing I do think that we're all kind of missing without having a draft. But what I will say, and I think is really important to say, is that the draft was like an example of a lack of player autonomy that the Players Association and the players fought really hard to remove.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I have heard stories of young players who avoided the draft and decided to go play in an international league because, for example, they didn't want to go to a state that was less friendly towards gay people. 100%. And that's like a totally valid reason to go somewhere else and is something that I'm so glad the players now have more of a say where they go. When we're also thinking about like women's access to abortion, women's rights to have rules made about their own bodies, it's really important players have a say in where they go.
Yeah, and what state they go to because the states have different laws.
Exactly. Okay, thank you for summing that one up. So shout out to the PA for getting this. I think now I'm just trying to figure out, like, is this going to impact the league? And what I want to talk about with you specifically is how does a club now compete to attract young players to come to their club? Like, what does that look and feel like for a young player? What was Maddie Darlene looking for last year when she said, I need to go to Seattle? This is the best place for me.
Yeah, I think that Well, from a player's perspective, I really like it. Obviously, you get to pick where you're going, but we've talked about this so many times where you you go to college, right? You get to pick what college you go to, but you really only have like a select few. Most people have a select few. They're like, all right, I'm picking from these three.
Yeah.
And then you get into college and you like your schedule's laid out for you. You don't have to make a single decision. And then you got drafted to the team you're going to, and then you're playing with them and your schedule's laid out for you. You don't have to make a single decision. And I remember in COVID when you were trying to decide if you wanted to go to Man City or not, it was a huge decision because you were like, I haven't had to make a decision in
Ever.
years. Like, yeah, ever. And so I think that one, it's really cool to see just like the development on that side of like, okay, you actually have to take your career into your own hands and say like, what do I want to get out of my career? Or what do I think I'm getting out of my career with X team?
Yeah.
What do I think that
what's important to me?
Yeah. What qualities do I have that I think this team is going to give a good balance to, or et cetera, like whatever.
And also what is most important for me when I'm looking at a club? Is it the coach? Is it the facilities?
Yeah.
Is it the fans? Is it the possibility of getting playing time? Is it the money? Like you have to decide at a younger age, like where your values are.
Yeah. And I think that that's great. I think that obviously now the league is going much younger and people are having to decide at a way younger age than we ever did.
Yeah.
But I do think it's good. It's like good practice to say, okay, maybe you're with a team like, yeah, I'm going to sign a 3-year deal. If that deal didn't go as planned, now you have to reevaluate and say, okay, well, what did I learn from this experience and what can I take into my next one? But to go back and answer your actual question, I think that like teams now have to really sell themselves. Like you have
totally. They have to compete with each other
to
be the best place.
And I think that's great.
It's so great. It's like literally, I'm going to like butcher this, but it's like when it's like it's competition. It's like in the market when you have multiple companies fighting to have the best product, you compete and you make each other better.
100%. I think that like on the field when you have when
you're an economist,
when you're like developing a great team, you want competition on your team, right? Because what is it? Iron sharpens iron. Is that the same?
Oh, yeah.
And so you want your forwards in a very professional and non-toxic way. You want like your forward to be competing against each other. You want your midfielders and your defenders because then you're going to get the best. Why isn't that applied to teams? And now it is.
Like, exactly. And so I think, and there are pros and cons to a draft. Mm-hmm. This is a pro of having no draft, is that now NWSL teams and clubs have to make their environments the most attractive for a young player to choose their environment. Of course, they're going to offer that environment because part of that is like salary and like an individual like contract. But part of it is facilities and coaching. And so they'll strategize who they're making their best offers to. But I think what's so exciting about it is that like a young player like Lily Reel gets to go and have this great success her rookie season because Gotham was the right place for her. A young player like Maddie Darlene, Seattle was clearly the right place for her. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's just, there's a big difference between the very first draft pick going to the last place team, regardless of if it's the right environment for them or not. Sure, it may help with parity in the long run, but it's like, it's probably not best for the player. And it probably isn't best overall for the club to have somebody coming that might not fit their style, that might not want to be there, that might not, want to create a home and be a long-term part of the culture and the team and the club.
100%. I know that this isn't like a draft situation, but I do think like Jaden Shaw is a perfect example of that. Where she didn't necessarily get drafted to
but it was the wrong fit.
It was the wrong fit. Yeah, she didn't get drafted to North Carolina, but it was the wrong fit. Like Jaden is an amazing player. She was just in the wrong market. And then she was able to be like, okay, let me rectify this and I need to go somewhere that is the right market. And that was like a player decision, obviously with the clubs and whatnot. But I think that if you take that example and just put it in a draft situation, that happens all the time. Where you're like, some people just get lucky in a draft and they're like, I ended up in the place I wanted to be. And then other people are like, I didn't want to go to wherever And now I don't want to be here. The club, I don't like the club. The club doesn't like
And
me.
that's not good for anybody.
No. Or like the system, you're like, my skill sets just don't fit this system,
Exactly.
or I'm too homesick, or I like literally the city offers me something that isn't great with my personality. Like it could be anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's even so like this is, I'm like not throwing shade at anybody, but where I got drafted to Western New York in a huge rookie class, we had really, really great players. And I think the max rookie contract was like $16,000, or maybe it was like $20,000, but my offer was 15. And I like wrote back over email, like 23, 22-year-old Sam, fresh out of college, no agent, no autonomy over going to this city, no choice of mine. All I did, my only decision was entering the draft. Now I'm on this team. And I wrote back to my contract offer and I said, I think I like warrant the rookie max, because I felt like I did. I was in national team camp.
Yeah.
And the person just writes back, we can't afford it. No. And what am I supposed to do? I had no say. What was I going to do? Not play for the team? What was I going to do? Protest and go play abroad? Because you know what I mean? It was like, I didn't get to choose where I went. I didn't have any say in what I was getting paid. And you were just powerless. And so that's where I'm like, if what a player values is money, go wherever pays you the most. If what a player values is a combination of money and coaching, find that combination that is right for you. It's just like by giving players more autonomy, it's obviously better for the players, but I would argue that in turn, it will be better for the clubs too.
100%, because you don't want a player that doesn't want to be there. Sam, the times that when we were there were so different. Like we got drafted to Western New York. It obviously worked out for us. It's fine, but like
I literally wouldn't change a thing. Well,
I
did change some things. But
I did cry like at least twice a week to go home because I was having such a terrible time. But really built some character there. But remember, like
we built some character. We built some character.
At the time, though, like your contract would end, and then you still you had to sign with that team because they owned your rights.
Can't leave.
They owned your rights.
Can't leave.
Yeah. So I remember. I remember my rookie year contract was like $12,500, and then the next year they're like, "We'll give you a raise. We'll give you a raise," and it was $15,000, and you had no say because you were like, "Okay, yeah, sure." Like even if I say no, even if I was like, "Nope, I need to get paid more," I couldn't go to another team because they didn't have my rights. Like my rights had to be sold.
Lynn, it was the wild, wild west. We survived. And look, I am so pumped now that this is the situation that these players are in, because it is better for them and it is better for the clubs. I think the other thing that is making me be like, yeah, we definitely don't need the draft, is that I kind of think the draft like 10 years from now was like maybe going to be kind of obsolete anyway. A lot of these young players are circumventing the draft because they're not going to college anyway. And so I think that this was like, well, it felt like a big surprise. I actually think as time went on, the draft was going to become like less and less relevant.
Oh, 100%. I agree. Because like you said, people are coming into the league way younger. They're like, I'm not even in college. What are you talking about? I can't go to the draft.
And I think that as the NWSL continues to like make changes to be competitive in a global market, I think players will continue to skip college, especially those young superstars like Claire Hutton, Alyssa Thompson. Players like that, I think, will continue to skip college. It will become more and more normal.
Agreed. And I also think that like having a draft doesn't allow us to compete on the global level, because I think we'll just lose talent too. And we've seen it in the past.
They can just go anywhere.
They'll just go overseas and be
because
like, okay,
that's what the market is you go where you want to go. Like,
yeah,
you're right. It was holding us back in a way.
Yeah. And Haley Mace is a great example of that. She, I believe at the time, was going to get drafted to Sky Blue. And she was like, I don't want to go there. And she decided to go overseas. And then she was able to come back and go to Kansas City, or she went to North Carolina and then Kansas City. But that was happening where people were like, well, I didn't choose to go to that market. I'm honored that you want me, but I didn't choose this, and I'm going to just pick where I want to go, and it will be overseas. And that's not helping grow the league at all. And I think that not having the draft actually will help us grow.
Yeah. Okay. So completely agree. I feel like everything we've laid out has kind of been like, we hate the draft. I have to, in good conscience, lay out the opposing view.
Of course.
The way we introduced the draft at the beginning of this conversation was that it is there to maintain parity.
Mm-hmm.
So my Olipop gut check of the week, leave it to me to just do a devil's advocate gut check.
The devil doesn't need an advocate, okay?
Oh, don't tell me that. I love being devil's advocate.
What flavor do you have?
Orange squeeze.
Ooh.
It's so good.
You want to know my favorite flavor is, even though I haven't had it in a long time and now I'm going to crave it, obviously, here we are, is the Honey Crisp. I mean, what? The Apple Crisp?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah. Honey Apple Crisp.
Honey Apple Crisp. There you go. Jeez.
I don't actually know if that's what it's called, but I have a case of them in the fridge downstairs. I'll have one next
week. The apple juice one.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Okay, our Olipop gut check of the week is, will having no college draft in the NWSL hurt smaller market teams in the long run and in turn lead to less parity? So I feel like the way I want to set this up is like a small market team like Louisville. How are they competing for players and what type of player should they go after to continue being competitive? They made playoffs this year. They don't have a draft to help them maintain parity, but are they doing an okay job without it?
Okay. Side note, first of all, I would love to see the playoff stand thing, and who didn't make playoffs, because I'm thinking like the Bay didn't make playoffs and they have a whole bunch.
Do you want me to pull it up?
Yes.
Okay. In 2025, 9th place was North Carolina. Houston, Angel City, Utah, Bay, Chicago did not make playoffs.
Okay. Well, what stands out to me is Angel City and the Bay. They didn't make playoffs, and I would say they have so much money.
I know Angel City is an anomaly. We are hoping that they turn it around soon. I think it would be good for everybody.
But I do think that like a Louisville, the type of player I would go after if I was Louisville is like somebody who's really solid in the league, who's just going to be like, they may never make the national team, but they're right there. Like you can always count on them. They're sturdy. You know exactly what you're going to get every single game, and then build a team around that. Because sometimes I think when you have like a good team like that, instead of like lesser and then a couple of key players, that can be a better team than, we have some players like on the minimum and we have 3 players on the max.
Such a good example, I think, because of the way our league is structured now with no draft, but with a salary cap. Teams are at risk of really paying 1 or 2 players a lot of money and then underpaying the rest of their roster. Yes. And does that lead to playoffs and championships? I don't know. It might lead to a lot of jersey sales and ticket sales. And if that's what your club values, that's fine. But I think I love what you're saying about a market like Louisville, who can really strategically target the type of player who will make Louisville their home, who will be like an iron woman for that club, who is a really good player in the league that may not be making $1 million a year. I actually think that those kind of like grinders, like those players who just like can play 90 minutes every single week, but might not have their name up in lights, are like the backbone of this league.
100%.
The question is, will having no draft hurt parity? And I'm like, it could, but clubs can be creative and strategic with the type of player they're trying to attract. Now they're in this market where they have to compete. You don't all have to go after the same national team starters. You should strategically pick and choose the players that are right for you, work out how to pay them all and keep them there in a strategic way. Like, I actually think it's a really exciting challenge for clubs and GMs to have to craft a roster that suits them, that will still be competitive. Do I think it could hurt parity in the long run? Yes. But like, I have to hope that clubs and GMs and coaches and owners have the capacity to like make decisions that are right for their team, that will keep their teams competitive. They're not totally hamstrung by having no draft.
Yeah, I think that we talked about this a couple episodes ago, but like, I think that with no draft and the way that the league is moving, we have to have faith in the GMs and the coaches,
yes,
and the owners to build a team into the style that they want, that they see that their team is going to play, and not just go out and get Joe Schmo because they have a huge name. Just get like somebody who's going to fit their system, and then you have to coach that system. And I think that is what's going to make the league better in general, and that's what like combats the lack of parity.
Yeah, I completely agree. I also think, and this is the last thing I'll say and then we can move on, our league is so young that creative solutions are still available. We haven't thought through all of the ways in which to make our league better and more competitive and have more parity and sell more tickets. Like, the league is so young that there are infinite things that we can still think of and do, and that like thinking creatively will work in the NWSL's favor at this point. And I think losing the draft was like a creative solution to. It was a creative solution.
Great ending point. I also just
I'm happy about it.
Me saying Joe Schmo to like what would be like
to like a superstar player. I wanted to stop you and be like, do you mean like superstar Joe?
You know what I meant.
I know exactly what you meant, but it was like a wild thing to insert. Anyways, everybody, that was our Olipop Gut Check of the week. I actually really do want to know what everybody thinks. Comment below what you think about no draft. Do you think it's going to impact parity? Who do you think is doing a good job at having a balanced roster? I need to know. You can also send me an email, womensgamemib@menablazer.com. I'm super curious about this one.
What if we had a draft where it's like first round pick, Seattle Reign takes Samantha Mewis, and then you are like, no, thank you. And then it just puts you back into the draft. And then they're like, all right, we'll pick somebody else. And then the next team can pick. And then
I don't think that would work. I think that's too creative of a solution. And we are not proposing that.
Get less creative than that.
All right, everybody, we need to take one more quick break, but we have a lovely email from Kate when we get back, so don't go anywhere. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Before we let you go, we're going to do some quick hits of news from around the women's soccer world. We've got more Champions League this week, where 8 teams are still vying for the last 8 spots in the quarterfinals. Real Madrid and Paris FC are facing off on Wednesday, with Real Madrid up 3-2. Arsenal has a 4-goal lead over OH Leuven. Juventus versus Wolfsburg is looking like a big game. They're tied 2-2, and I feel like it would be a big upset for Juventus to knock Wolfsburg out. They're 2-time champs, perennial contenders, so I have my eyes on this game for sure. And finally, Manchester United is taking on Atletico Madrid. They already have a 3-goal lead. U.S. women's national team and Manchester United goalkeeper Fallon Tullis-Joyce is crushing it in her first ever Champions League campaign, and I am loving watching her play. Meanwhile, in the UK, we've got the 5th round of the FA Cup this weekend. There's tons of matches, including face-offs between Chelsea and Man United, and a Merseyside derby between Liverpool and Everton. And then zooming out to look at the whole world, Lynn, we have a big FIFA window looming at the start of March. We have SheBelieves here. Mm-hmm. The US is playing Colombia, Argentina, and our neighbors of the north, Canada. Then there's the WAFCON in Morocco. The Asian Cup is happening in Australia. And in Europe, teams are going to have the chance to book their ticket to the 2027 Women's World Cup in Brazil with qualifying games. So it's kind of like a huge deal.
Yeah, it is a huge deal. I always find it so interesting when countries do their qualifying. And like, because sometimes I remember qualifying for the Olympics. We were like, yeah, we've already qualified. And then other teams were waiting until the last second. And I was like, why isn't this all at the same time?
I know. It's all so different, like based on your confederation. The one for the US isn't until like November, December of this year.
I know. It's wild.
It's wild. So very exciting. A very big month ahead. And lastly, right here in the US this month, 2 teams from 2 of America's top flight women's soccer leagues will play each other when the Houston Dash take on Dallas Trinity FC at the Cotton Bowl. This Texas showdown is going to be on February 28th. We have a special discount ticket offer for TWG fans down in the show notes. Make sure you check that out. We know we have a lot of listeners who are fans of the NWSL, but we also have a lot of fans who love the Gainbridge Super League, the United States' other Division I women's soccer league. So maybe if you're a fan of both, you're really excited about this game. I know that we are, and we hope any hot dogs in Texas can enjoy this game with our discount ticket code. All right, let's head over to the inbox where we have this long-awaited email from listener Kate. Kate writes, "Hi, Sam, Lynn, and Becky." She even included Sebek in, which feels like ancient to me now, but like I'm thrilled.
I know, same. I was actually thinking about the other day, and I couldn't even remember what our name was. But so thank you so much, Kate.
Oh, it's like mine is like tattooed on me.
Show
forever.
us.
It's
Tough
not,
guy.
but it could be. I've gotten a tattoo for something less important than that.
Same.
Okay, back to Kate's email. Longtime fan, I'm so glad that you all are back regularly for the year for my necessary weekly good vibes. Congrats, Lynn and Becky, on the new babies. And congrats, Sam, for your growing soccer media empire. Just being wonderful overall. Kate, I really appreciate it. Big
Sorry. Kate, that is so cute, but that was wild. That's like when I've seen so many moms do this where they like, congratulations to my daughter who just won her Olympic gold medal. And they'd be
yeah.
And then here's my eighth grade
son.
Yeah, and my son who
just graduated 8th grade. And you're like, not the same.
You don't have to include them together. That was so cute.
Not the same. Lynn, so are you saying that my growing media empire is not the same as a baby?
It is.
Big Washington Spirit fan here. Kate is, and I'm absolutely devastated about the Croix trade today. It feels like we just got over the hump of the chaos and uncertainty that was the Trinity contract saga, and now we have to deal with many people's, including my own, favorite player and face of the Spirit getting traded away. I'm sure there's a lot of factors here. I know her contract was up at the end of next year, but I have to ask, what are your takes on how having a big player and their massive contract who dominates a lot of the news affects a team's culture? Especially given the news that Croix requested a trade. It seems like she and Trinity are good friends, so not sure exactly what kind of impact that has, but with so many incredible people and players at the Spirit who go a little under the radar, it's something I've been thinking about and worried about as I love all the Spirit players and don't want to see any leave. Really going to miss not only Croix's incredible skills and play on the field, but also her involvement in the community and her love for the fans and city. Love you all so much. From a loyal hot dog, Kate. Can I just say, such a perfectly crafted email from Kate. Great intro, gave us a laugh. Great question, thoughtful, detailed, but not over the top. Signs from a hot dog. Like, this is the template of an email that I just love to get.
That's like the highest compliment from you, because I feel like when people don't send a good question or email, you roast them. So this is like,
I love Kate. Kate with a C.
I love Kate as well. Okay, answer the question.
I think that everybody loves Trinity. Like, as far as I know, I think I was in one national team camp with her, but as far as I know, she seems fun. She seems like she works hard. She seems like she is a good teammate. And so I don't think that Trinity's big contract or like the drama that was surrounding it is really impacting team culture in a negative way. I think that Trin's teammates were probably thrilled to have her resign. She's obviously great for the club, great for the fans, great on the field. Like, there's a lot of wins there. What I was saying about myself earlier was sometimes you do want to feel like you're the go-to player or like you're not just a cog in a machine. I don't really know if that's what Croix was feeling. I genuinely think that Croix is just at a phase of her career where she is, maybe like Lynn said, trying to get outside her comfort zone, seeking new challenges, new experiences.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard to put yourself in every single market because every market's different and has its own challenges and things. But I think that there's this, when you're on a team, obviously everything's like about the team, right? But then there's also a part where when things happen and people are like getting traded or having success, like you're happy for them because you recognize, like, at the end of the day, you have to kind of put yourself first sometimes. So I've always felt like if somebody, like, when they wrote in the group chat, like, I've decided I'm leaving, I'm going X wherever, and this was a hard decision, blah, blah, blah. I've never felt like, I hate you, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're abandoning us. I'm always like, I'm so excited for you. If this was what was best for you in your career, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then with the Trin thing, yeah, I think Trin is like an anomaly first and foremost. Like, I don't think that happens all the time. And I do think that a lot of people love Trin. And she's already a big personality. So I don't think that was like added stress.
Yeah, they're also like so close. I mean, look, what do I know? I'm watching their TikToks and I'm like, they're really best friends. Like, what do I know? But it does seem like they're best friends. And Trin like posted that she was so sad.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't think there was like bad blood there. I think that sometimes players have to put themselves in a new challenge, in a new situation. And maybe it's as simple as that. But like, is it sad for DC? Is Trin sad? Are the spirits sad? Are the fans sad? Yeah,
Yeah, I think you could be sad and happy at the same time. I think two things could
for sure.
be true at once. Like, I think you could be excited for Croix if this is exactly what she wanted, and also sad that you're losing your friend
Totally.
and teammate.
Yeah. I mean, there are also, just to go back to Kate's question and to take Trin and Croix out of it, there are situations where a teammate's drama, whether it's with their contract or something in their personal life or some beef they're having with the coach or another teammate, are distracting and
Yes.
does push people away. Like, obviously, sometimes there's like a weird, awkward situation going on in the locker room, and that makes it like makes the locker room not a great place to be. And so that definitely exists, though I don't really know if that was the situation here.
No, I don't think that's the situation here, but that definitely exists. And then you're like, well, thank goodness they're gone, because they were toxic to the environment or whatever. But no, I don't think that was this situation at all. I think I would assume that people are like, oh, we got to keep Trin. Good for you. You got your bag. Am I jealous? Yeah. Of course. And then with Croix, I think people will say, if that's what you felt that you needed to do, congratulations. We're sad because we just love you as a human being.
Totally. Kate, honestly, the sign of a good email. We can't stop talking about it. We can't stop answering your question. Thank you so much for writing in. Lynn, final 2 segments. We have a choice today.
Under a rock, sick and tired, latest catastrophe. Do you know what I have, actually? What? So I have been, I wouldn't say craving. Okay, I don't have any like real cravings unless somebody says something to me and then I'm like, ooh, that sounds good. And then that becomes my craving. But I've been having frozen yogurt. We went to this frozen yogurt place twice and I've had it and it's been delicious. And me and Marley were like eating it like crazy people. And then all of a sudden, another pregnant friend of mine was like, yeah, let's go here, but we can't have frozen yogurt because you can't have frozen yogurt while you're pregnant. And I go, what? And then Marley naturally was like, yeah, you're not having frozen yogurt anymore. And I was like, yes, I am. I've already had it twice. And he was like, no, you're not. And
why? Why? The probiotics or something?
Apparently like how they clean the machines or something. I don't really know.
Oh, I don't love
so
that.
Let us know if I can have that because I really want it.
Oh, this could be a new segment. Seeing as this is not any of our regular segments for this section, this can just be like, can the fans play doctor and tell Lynn if she can have frozen yogurt or not? If there's any doctors really out there, of course we'll like prioritize your input. But honestly,
let me know.
A mom with babies is enough.
Yeah,
that's enough of a qualification to weigh in on this one.
We'll take any and everybody. If you even think you know.
Okay, well, I don't really have one of those like medical encounters, so we're gonna leave that one with Lynn. It's called Write It and Be Lynn's Doctor. I have a good vibe though. I good vibes are always so bittersweet for me because I don't want the episode to be over, and this is a sign that it is over. But I do have a really good vibe today. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, I do.
So Raj, our guy and the founder of Men in Blazers, Roger Bennett, he wrote a new book. It's called We Are the World Cup. And I got it in the mail and it's inscribed to me, which is so nice. And I read what's it called at the beginning? The prologue.
Intro? Okay.
I read the prologue and I'm like hooked. Let me just make sure it's called an introduction. I'm hooked. I'm so excited for Raj. It's very, very cool. It's like a celebration of the World Cup and like this personal journey of his through all the World Cups he's been alive for. And it is available for pre-order. And so I just wanted to shout him out because I'm really excited to read it.
That's amazing.
And that's my good vibe. I love getting packages in the mail.
My good vibe. Let me think. There's not really much going on in my life right now. So that's tough. But I do think that like I said this before as my New Year's resolution is to like have grace with myself. And I think I've been doing that. So I'm really happy and proud of myself for being able to just enjoy this slow season of my life before things get crazy and hectic. And I'm somebody who's a lunatic. We talked about this last episode, whereas like when things get slow, I'm like, I gotta bleh. And so I'm just really proud of myself. And I think that is my good vibe, that I've been able to just like sit in the slowness and recognize like, this is a moment. It's okay to like kick your feet up and not do anything. And it's okay that I can't go crazy in the gym. And it's okay that I can't do X, Y, and Z. And that's my good vibe.
That's really nice, Lynn. I'm so glad that you are basking in just what you wanted for yourself, the slowness.
Yes. And I haven't cried recently about my clothes not fitting, which is also a win.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Well, that was great, everybody. And that's it for this week's episode of Good Vibes FC. Please subscribe to either this podcast feed or YouTube channel, wherever you're watching, listening to this situation. You can also follow along with us across all social media. And you should come back on Thursday. We have a Friendlies episode with Kaylin Sheridan, Canada's goalkeeper, North Carolina Courage's goalkeeper. It was really, really fun to chat. Heard all about her move from San Diego and asked her some questions about the SheBelieves tournament coming up. So come on back for that one. That's it.
That is all.
Gotta go.
I'm Lynn. That's Sam.
Love ya.
You failed. You've been screaming at these people.
I know. Bye, guys.